p.m. East African time. Good afternoon. This is the great KBC, and you're just in time for KBC Lunchtime News. Let's take a look at the news shaping up the conversation in the country. My name is Njue. Byron Abuli will be your sign language interpreter for these live newscasts. Remember, we are also live on social media spaces. We begin on a security note where hundreds, Mandera County Commissioner Henry Achoki is
Ushaipata na ule mama anafanya kazi kwa mama Feli?
Majabali hatuna shida na yeye. Inakuaje amekuwa involved?
Huyo mwanamke ni kama mchawi.
Kuna evidence?
Na nikuulize, hii Biblia unasoma, wewe inakusaidia kweli?
Haki usianzishe vita leo tafadhali.
Kama inakuaga inakusaidia, ungekuwa mke mzuri sana sasa.
Mambo yenu na Jenny imefika wapi?
Kila kitu kiko sawa. Next week pia inafanya mpeleke date.
Huyo jamaa wako anatafutwa na polisi.
This is a man you are head over heels in love with. You even got pregnant for.
For like, yeah, he can rot in jail.
Jane, what exactly are you trying to tell me?
Pete is still seeing that woman.
Kunaye pia madharau yake imezidi sasa.
Well, that's why I want to leave Pete for good.
Hapana. Mwanaume hawezi kusnachiwa kama hataki. Kwani yeye ni kibeti?
I just want my respect.
Welcome back, and apologies for that technical hitch, but you are watching KBC Lunchtime News. It's exactly 1 minute past 1. My name is Njue. Byron Abuli will assist us in the sign language interpretation, and we do begin with security matters where Mandera County Commissioner Henry Achoki is urging residents to maintain peace to facilitate development in the region. Achoki is calling on all communities living in the region to adhere to the law and assist in bringing perpetrators of violence to justice. He says residents must cooperate with security agencies by providing timely reports, ensuring government services reach every corner of the county.
By the way, our neighboring countries, when they face the same amount of violation of the players, why they go and
motivation, we open that border and we can say.
Ningependa kuomba jamii zote ambao ziko katika Mandera County siheshimu sheria, na mtu akitenda makosa ijulikane kwamba huyo ni mhalifu, sio kabila fulani ambaye imetekeleza makosa fulani. Tujue ya kwamba makosa inatekelezwa na mtu, sio jamii.
Garissa County Commissioner Mohamed Mwabudzo has issued a stern warning to all drug peddlers and smugglers in the county to stop the illicit trade lest they face the full wrath of the law when nabbed. Speaking during a special meeting with the county and sub-county security teams and officials, the county commissioner directed the administrators to take decisive steps to eliminate the vice from the society and save future generations. Pharmacists in the county were also warned against selling unprescribed drugs to members of the public to curb abuse of such drugs.
Na halikadhalika wale ambao wanasafirisha bangi kuleta kutoka upande ya Ethiopia kuleta Kenya kupitia njia hii ya Madogo, kupitia njia ya Madagascar, kupitia njia kutoka Ijara, wote tunawajua na tunawafuatilizia kwa ukaribu sana. Hatuwezi kubali tabia hiyo iendelee hapa.
We've realized this is something that we need to deal with ASAP. It's something that's destroying our generations. It's something that has caused a lot of family breakups. It's something that has made our people engage in all sorts of criminal activities.
Great problem of people who are using Mira and Muguka together with, we call it polyuse, because when you use Mira and Muguka, you have to use those prescription drugs which are not supposed to, and which are supposed to be prescribed to people who have psychosis or people who they are prescribed by a psychiatric doctor. But now you find it's being sold at Muguka joint.
Very well, let's now tilt the lens and focus on matters corruption. And for that, we cross over to Kilifi County, where my colleague Abdiaziz Hashim has been keeping tabs with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission that has been hosting a public lecture at the Pwani University, and actually more to sensitize the Kenyan youth on integrity and their role in finding that elusive quest for ethical living and also good governance in the country. And they're also giving an update on corruption cases in the country. Let's first of all cross over to Kilifi County. Good afternoon, Abdiaziz. Kindly bring us up to speed with the latest from EACC.
Indeed, good afternoon to you. Coming to you live from Pwani University in Kilifi County, where this great institution is playing host to discussions that are happening around matters of youth and integrity. And the bone of contention, or the million-dollar question that the youth are being asked, is that does integrity matter, especially in this current generation of the Generation Z? The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC CEO, that is Swalib Mbarak, as well as Nandi Governor, that is Stephen Sang, as well as Kilifi North Member of Parliament, that is Owen Baya, are currently having a closed-door discussions with the students as well as other key stakeholders who are in this particular meeting. Now, earlier on that we got privy to this particular discussions that were happening, it is touching upon matters of integrity and good governance. This boils down to what the Commission has been doing for the last few years or so during its tenure, and of course led by the EACC CEO, that is Swalib Mbarak. Now, the first of the issues that have been discussed here is the vulnerability among the youth, especially when it comes to unemployment. They are being exploited by politicians, by other unscrupulous people who are using them to either for their political gain or matters to do with drug abuse. You remember that the second lady, that is Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, was here at this particular institution talking about the drug menace, not just in the country, but especially here within the coastal region. That is also a discussion that the leaders who are before this great institutions and the students have been able to touch upon. Also, we were talking about issues that came before this particular panel. And of course, currently what is happening inside the university is a discussion session in touching upon these issues. Now, you do remember that the Ethics Commission launched its quarterly report, and over have been recommended to be charged. You do know that cases that were before that particular institution was the former governor of Kakamega, that is Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, and also the Member of Parliament. But let's get to hear more from one of the directors from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, who are currently having a discussion session here at the Pwani University. Thank you, KBC. You're live. Name your position within the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and then finally, what are you doing here?
My name is Vincent Okongo. I'm the Director of Preventive Services of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Today we are having a public lecture at the Pwani University on the topic Youth and Governance, Does Integrity Matter? We are coming here to discuss with the youth the role they can play to promote integrity and anti-corruption, and where the gaps are, which we can fill collectively. In this lecture, we have with us a youthful governor, Governor Sandy. We also have the CEO, Bwana Twalib Barak. We also have the Vice Chancellor of Pwani University, as well as Kai, who is the Group Chief for TV. corruption affects all aspects of our society. The youth are affected most. And the conversation is that the youth comprises 65% of our country. One of the things they need to do to promote elections is to vote with and elect leaders of integrity if they have to improve their lives. Secondly, we are talking to the youth to reject vices of drug, betting, and so on, to address the problems that affect them on a day-to-day basis. We are telling the youth to work closely with their fellow students and lecturers to shun exam cheating and to avoid strikes and to nurture leadership from where they are so that tomorrow they can be leaders of and champion the country that we call Kenya. It lies with them.
Thank you much, sir. We are running out of time later as we continue with this particular discussion. Thank you so much. That will be carried on for the next few hours or so. We're also expecting a media briefing led by the Chief Executive Officer of EACC in just a few. But for now, I need to hand you over and we'll duly inform you in our subsequent bulletins.
Thank you, Abdi, for that comprehensive report there, and also engaging one of the directors of the EACC, where they're holding public sensitization forum for Kenyans and indeed for the youth on their role in sensitizing Kenyans to avoid graft. And a little bit later on, we will be getting a much comprehensive report from the EACC itself in regards to the corruption in the country and the cases themselves. But away from that, we now cross over to Kambu, where the ongoing crackdown on illicit brew in Githunguri, Kambu County, has elicited mixed reactions from the residents. Those opposing it argue that people have a right to drink the alcohol of their choice. And those in support of the crackdown, however, encourage authorities to continue fighting the menace, saying it has really destroyed the lives of many in Kambu County. Area Deputy County Commissioner David Juma urges residents to help in the war against illicit brews if the youth in the area are to lead meaningful lives. Women supported the crackdown, complaining that the illicit brew has taken a heavy toll on their families.
Sisi hapa ni ukulima, lakini saa hizi hata unaweza taka kutafuta kijana akufanyie kazi ya shamba ukose, sababu watoto wanakunywa kutoka asubuhi, na akikunywa hii pombe hakui mtu tena, anaharibika mpaka unaona haezi coordinate anything, wanalala kwa mitaro hata asubuhi. So kwa watoto wetu na kwa wananchi kwa jumla, ningetoa amri tuseme watoto waachane na hii pombe haramu.
Mimi hata isipokuwa nilikuwa nimekuja kuchomoa hapa, mmeshika mimi nilikuwa nimekuja kukunywa. Sasa mimi hakuna mtu amenitoa kwa nyumba ati nikuje nikunywe. Mimi nimekuja shughuli zangu nikunywe, na isipokuwa ni pombe wengine wangekuwa wamejiua. Juu sisi tukikunywa unasahau na mashida. Sasa before mshike pombe, mtutafutie mahali tutaenda, mahali hakuna pombe. Juu hata mimi saa hii nitatafuta mahali nitakunywa na nitakunywa.
Away from that, education stakeholders in Thika are proposing that area day schools learning shifts in order to avert crowding. The stakeholders argue that learning institutions in the area are overstretched by the 100% transition policy and may lead to the disenfranchisement of many learners. Thika Town MP Alice Nganga says teachers are also overwhelmed by the huge number of learners.
Ningetaka kusema kwa sababu serikali ilisema ni 100% transition, ndio watoto wetu wasiwe wanakaa nyumbani kwa sababu hawana pahara pa kwa kupeleka watoto kwa sababu zimejaa. Ningesema zile day scholars, day schools, tuwe na shift mbili ya asubuhi na tena ingine wao wanaingia saa 7 mpaka jioni. With this one hakuna mtoto hata mmoja ata complain ya kwamba hakuweza kusoma vizuri kushinda msongamano ambao tumeona kwa wakati huu. Even the teachers themselves, they are overwhelmed.
One of the challenges is the infrastructure. We have 7 out of the 9 Form 1 classes. Teaching and learning is taking place under the tent, and then our dorms are really congested. Actually, we have converted one classroom into a dormitory, And we also have a makeshift dormitory as we await the completion of now the ongoing second floor of Marsabit Dome, which we believe by the end of this term it shall be complete.
Very well, from Kambu, let's cross over to Homa Bay County, where the government spokesperson, Dr. Isaac Mwaura, was having his weekly briefing. And key on the agenda is the AU Commission chairmanship that the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga, is in a quest. And he says that the government fully supports Raila Odinga in his quest to be the next AU Commission chair. Let's first of all cross over to Homa Bay.
Whether petty or grand, because they affect the lives of Kenyans equally. Noting that 65% of Kenyan population.
And to say also that now we have settled the issue of politics, we move forward towards development, and development is accrued to everyone. It doesn't matter your political persuasion, because all of us are taxpayers. And shortly I will be taking us through what the government is doing in Homa Bay County. But before that, there are also other national matters of importance. For example, the COOPS placement. So we have noted the concerns from a section of students who are seeking placements in our tertiary institutions, but have been unable to access the COOPS placement online portal. We would like to assure them that the government is addressing their concerns and that the Ministry of Education has put in place measures to fast-track the application process and ensure that no eligible applicant is locked out. As of February 25th, 2024, a total of 121,391 students who had obtained a C+ and above in the 2023 KCSE examination had applied for various courses. These accounts for 60.8% of the 199,695 candidates who scored a mean grade of C+ and above. So it's only about 40 or 39% or thereabout, the 9.2%. COOPS, therefore, has extended the application deadline on 3 occasions to ensure that all applicants have a fair, efficient, and effective access to the academic opportunities. The portal was first opened on 7th February 2024 with an initial application deadline of February 22nd, 2024, and later it was pushed to February 26, 2024. And recently, the extension is up to 4th of March 2024. Please note the date. Accordingly, those facing challenges with their payments are encouraged to use the USSD code *222#. Let me repeat that. *222#, as provided, and the students that are keen on joining TVET institutions are also encouraged to visit their nearest Ministry of Education offices to get assistance in applying for the desired courses and programs. Let me also turn to the issue of drugs and substance abuse amongst the youth. I wish to reiterate the government's commitment in promoting the welfare of our young people and to curbing the menace of the adverse effects of drugs. In fact, tomorrow there's a huge meeting at the residence of the Deputy President to address this whole issue. And to achieve this, therefore, the National Agency for the Campaign Against Drugs Abuse, NACADA, which is the authority mandated to undertake public awareness campaigns amongst the youth in schools and other institutions of higher learning, is working closely with other stakeholders with the objective of concluding surveillance exercise across the country to map out the hotspots for breaching the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act and to provide counseling and referral services to affected youth and families. This includes 23,351 people with substance use disorders. Thus far, a total of 9,154 out-of-school youth have been reached out to due to the effects of alcohol and drug and substance abuse. And you can agree with me, even all of us here, we have that problem in all of our families. We have young people who are walking around, especially the boy child, walking around like zombies who don't actually know what is happening around. And that is really, really, really unfortunate. So that is why we are making this call. The government is also reviewing and strengthening the existing laws on the manufacturing, distribution, and sale of alcohol. Counties are also being encouraged to adopt a legal framework to complement national laws in providing a structured approach in the fight against drugs and substance abuse.
Government spokesperson Dr. Isaac Mwaura a little bit earlier on giving his weekly brief on the government projects and more specifically on what the government is doing in regards to the AU Commission chairmanship that has been sought by Azimio leader Raila Odinga, and also cases of drug abuse and projects as well. But we will be getting that a little bit later in our subsequent bulletin. But moving on, child protection bodies have raised concerns over the rising cases of child forced labor and cross-border labor migration trafficking amongst minors in the country. Speaking in Mombasa during a meeting with stakeholders from different sectors to discuss ways of combating child labor, forced labor and human trafficking, International Labour Organization Regional Project Manager for Uganda and Kenya, Grace Mbanya, noted that cases of labor migration trafficking are on the rise despite the key intervention by the government.
The young women that are migrating to the Gulf countries, the Middle East, in search of work, and unknowingly or naively, most of them end up in trafficking situations, even though there have been measures in place to get organized labor migration systems in place to allow people to migrate and look for employment, but in a more organized and legal format. But we're finding that the perpetrators always they work ahead of the policy and legal framework. A child labor report that was prepared between ILO and UNICEF, and the global estimates stand at 160 million children in child labor globally. Out of the 160 million children that are in child labor and of all ages, 90 million of those are in sub-Saharan Africa, where I think Kenya also falls. And then the report actually found that we're having a younger group of children, that's like 5 to 17, are the ones that are mostly in child labor.
And in other news, hundreds of people have fled the areas of Yatla and Romoch, Baringo County, following the killing of a Class 8 pupil and a Form 1 students by bandits. Tension is high in the area as mothers and children fled to safer areas, with the recent killings raising the death toll to 12 since the beginning of the year.
Been closed, with Ramoch Primary School and Yatia Secondary School being the latest casualty of insecurity rocking Baringo and sending locals fleeing to safer areas. The elderly have borne the brunt of the banditry as they are unable to flee.
Today, when we are releasing the students to go home, 2 boys came to my office and they said, "We have no home, we are not going anywhere." And they're in school. And they're asking us, unless you guarantee us safety to go home, that is when we can go.
The 2 victims who were recently killed were the children of Yatia Chief Jackson Keitanyi, who were shot dead while taking tea on Monday evening.
I met with my own area chief, bringing his own 2 kids. Where are we heading to? It is painful.
This brings to 12 the total number of those shot dead in Baringo North since the beginning of the year. Baringo North has faced renewed attacks since the beginning of the year. The blind head teacher, Thomas Kibet, who was also killed during a recent attack, was expected to be buried in Kagera, around 2 kilometers from where people have fled.
Na sasa tumepoteza walimu, sio moja, sio mbili, wengi. Ilianza na deputy principal huko, ikakuja yeye remu, wanafunzi, hata watoto wako mochari sahi. Wanataka wakufe wangapi ndio serikali isikie kilio yetu?
30 kilometers away in Marigat town, family, leaders and residents of Baringo assembled at Marigat AIC Township Church for a memorial service for Kibet, who was the head teacher of Kagir Primary School. The 55-year-old teacher was on a motorcycle with his wife and a child on their way to Kipcherere Secondary School for a function on Saturday morning when they were ambushed by armed bandits at Namba area. Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Lunchtime News.
And away from matters security, we now cross over to Parliament, where the Budget Committee is currently giving a presser in regards to recommendations given by various state agencies on the budget statement policy. Ndindi Nyoro, the Kiharu MP and the chairman of the committee, is currently speaking. Let's listen in.
And also the absorption. That is why you see in some areas the budget has slightly gone lower, but doesn't mean that those areas do not need resources. Those areas need resources, but we are trying to moderate because we are working against a deficit that is we must look and work against. As I come to the close, I want to thank the members of this committee and all the members of Parliament. Out of the policies that we continue to make, including the policies we made last year, and especially given the fact that budget actually becomes low, so it's also a policy. Our country, Kenya, I know there is room for improvement in terms of the economy. But the truth of the matter is that Kenya last year, out of the budget that we made and the other policies of government, Kenya grew by around 5.6% last financial year. Actually, last calendar year, sorry. And therefore, that made Kenya among the 28 fastest growing economies in the world. It doesn't mean we are chance dumping and we are saying things are very good. It means at least the policies we put in place are bearing fruit. But also that then calls us to do even more. Why? I shouldn't be telling Kenyans that GDP grew. Kenyans should be feeling it in their pockets. And that is the exact thing that we are doing in this budget, to reallocate our resources in areas that will guarantee Kenyans shared prosperity, where most of the Kenyans will actually feel the growth. I want to assure Kenyans that is why we are here for a week. We'll be here next week because the policies we are making, we want the farmers of this country to feel the economy, those with small businesses to feel the economic growth, so that this eventually translates into shared prosperity. Lastly, I also want to say that we have seen some quite improvement in our currency. I'm saying these things because they are all related to the budget. As you are aware, our shilling is now doing fairly well in comparative to the other world currencies. And we expect it to do further, better further. We are expecting some inflows. We have seen increment in remittances. There are some resources we are expecting from our development partners, and we are sure that Kenya shillings will continue to gain ground. Because once we let our Kenya shilling actually operate on the basis of market forces of demand and supply, then the country do not need to use any expenditure in stabilizing our currency. Those resources that we then put as reserves can actually be expended to other areas. And that is why market economy, or a perfectly competitive economy in all the markets, the market of money, the market of interest rates, the market of commodities and services, always works for an efficient economy. Efficient markets generally and ultimately brings efficiencies to the economy. And I am
Budget and Appropriations Committee Chair Ndindi Nyoro there addressing the press in regards to the budget policy statement. And among the things that he has talked about is that Kenyans will start to feel the growth and will see changes in regards to the policies that government has put in place. The Kenya shilling, he projects that it will still continue to gain ground. And of course, we need to moderate the finances as the deficits that are need to be patched up. We have our reporter live In regards to that, Mukami Nduta will bring us up to speed with the latest in regards to that report. But away from that, the Law Society of Kenya elections went off to a smooth start across 36 centers across the country. A spot check by KBC Channel 1 in Laikipia County indicates that 11 a.m. Thursday morning, over 25% of the 71 registered voters had cast their vote at the Nanyuki Law Courts, with the presiding officer, Kangora Karua, expressing confidence in the exercise winding up before 5 p.m.
Going across the country, where 1,000 members of the Lawyer Society of Kenya are casting their ballots to elect their representative for the next 2 years. 5 contenders are eyeing the top seat. They include lawyers Peter Wanyama, Faith Odhiambo, Bernard Kipngetich, Njoki Mboshe and Caroline Kamende. The elections come after Justice Lawrence Mugambi of Milimani High Court rejected a last-minute attempt by Advocate Yashim Butende to halt the much-awaited polls of the lawyers across the country yesterday, the 28th of February 2024.
And the exercise will be on the whole day up to 5 o'clock. So it is only after 5 o'clock that we shall close the station and count the votes to get those who have been elected in this station.
Regina Manyara reporting for Lunchtime News.
Moving on, hundreds of school-going girls in Webuye, Bungoma County have benefited from a 2-day empowerment program undertaken by 2 non-governmental organizations. Technology firm Njue AI and DRM Foundation also gave the girls drawn from several schools in the region dignity packs aimed at encouraging personal hygiene to boost self-esteem. The learners were sensitized on the digital economy, artificial intelligence, AI, product development, and cyber security.
Girls are not able to access these sanitary towels. It has made some of them to be absent from school because of such cases. I believe this will go a long way in supporting the girl child towards being present in school, so that they can be able to attend all lessons and their performance will really improve as the year goes by.
Getting to interact with the girls and talk about menstrual health and menstrual hygiene, and also encouraging the ladies to be excited about the opportunities available in the tech space. Since girls are underrepresented in this space, getting more girls into technology and taking over the professions in IT would be great.
What you're basically doing, we are giving back to the society, and we want to mentor these kids for the betterment of the future. We know these kids are the future, so what you're basically doing, you're trying to empower these kids, to empower them so that in future they can emulate us and do what we're doing to them. It's the virtue of love that we're empowering in this kids.
Very well, at about 31 minutes past the hour, we are due for fast break. But when we come back, we do matters business, and in business we also have a candid interview surrounding the job exportation. You do remember that the government announced 2,500 nurses will be headed to Saudi Arabia. Not only that, there are more opportunities for a lot of technical courses that are there. We will be looking at the merits and demerits of that, and of course we will be looking at the day sports after that. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani. Sile wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow.
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Maisha mazuri Maisha mazuri ya.
Get loose, get jiggy baby. Nimekuja kuwa show vile tutafanya.
Heko na watoleni wote mliwarembo. Ninawapa namba 1, siwasemi kwa mafumbo.
Bako nalo kunuza, siende ukainuza. Raha za dunia mwana, ni karaha na kuambia.
Wenzangu wanieleza, akili zinapanuza. Mabuku nikicharaza, nitakuwa naongoza.
Ni kwamba ni kweli wazazi hawajawapa watoto wao uhuru na nafasi ya kujieleza.
Mzazi anampa mtoto wake nafasi ya kujielezea, ndipo amsaidie katika changamoto zake.
Watoto hao wanapotoka kimaadili kwa sababu wazazi wao hawawapi wakati wa kutangamana nao ili watoto wao wawaelezee mambo yanayowasumbua.
Hii ni Sanaa ya Kiswahili katika KBC Channel 1.
Time to shift focus to business. Manufacturers should embrace environmentally conscious practices when designing products for sustainability and ensure efficient use of resources. This is part of commitments by local manufacturers to accelerate Kenya's transition to a circular economy through responsible production and consumption.
Has on the environment, the sector has been challenged to adopt more sustainable and eco-friendly methods that will help businesses reduce costs and enhance their productivity. Manufacturers say there is a need to fast-track the implementation of policies that enhance compliance with reduction of waste and reuse of materials.
Our vision is to drive investment, awareness, resource allocation towards sustainability. This to drive green growth.
We really need to change focus, and we really need to do it in a way where we reduce and reuse and think in creating a circular economy.
They also plan to enhance awareness on greening initiatives.
We're just looking at making it sustainable in terms of quality and access. And at the same time, we're looking for sustainable tariffs because cost of energy is also quite high. But we know our tariffs are sustainable. We are looking at bringing it down as we improve on things like geothermal power as our base load.
A circular economy is based on eliminating waste and pollution, circulating products and materials, as well as regenerating nature to address challenges such as climate change and biodiversity loss, while addressing important social needs.
Industry players in the fintech world are championing the crucial role of user inclusion in driving innovation and accessibility within the fintech industry. With a focus on empowering users from diverse backgrounds, Association of Fintechs in Kenya, AFIC Chair Ali Hussein Kasim says Kenya is committed to fostering a more inclusive financial ecosystem with calls for collaboration to shape the future of finance in the country and the African continent.
There is a need for fintechs in Kenya to collaborate and accelerate advancements in financial technology. Industry leaders are set to converge for the Africa Fintech Festival which seeks providing a platform for industry leaders, innovators, and policymakers to exchange ideas and collaborate on shaping the future of finance in Africa.
Regulation, we are going to be talking about access to markets, we are going to be talking about how we empower fintechs through impactful funding. We're expecting 300 organizations.
Kenya is seeking partnerships to help address the missing gaps, including the needs of end users in developing fintech solutions. Kasim says the integration of financial literacy and education into fintech solutions is key, hence need of equipping users with the knowledge and skills to navigate digital financial services space.
But that more people get into the digital ecosystem without, this is a delicate balance, without hurting the players who've rightly earned their market share in the ecosystem.
Kenya aims to bridge the gap between technology and financial inclusion, particularly in undeserved communities. Kenya will host the Africa Fintech Festival from 12th to 15th June this year. Kenya is seeking to inspire more collaborations and innovations in the Africa Fintech ecosystem as attention shifts to the upcoming Africa Fintech Festival slated for this June. Reporting for Lunchtime News, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
Very well, thank you, Mwoki, for that report. And Mwoki's report takes us to the interview segment. As I had mentioned earlier, is that we will be looking at the job exportation, and this is after the government announced that 2,500 nurses were going to be going to Saudi Arabia. Not only that, 900 NYS graduates will be proceeding there, and not only that, they say there's more than 500,000 jobs out there that the government is planning on Kenyans to secure these jobs. But the nurses has generated quite some discussion. Some people do acknowledge that indeed they need to go and even further their career and also better their lives. But at the end of the day, looking at the country, we are looking at the health sector that is wanting in manpower, in resources as well. So question is, what do we do? Do we support it, or what are the merits and demerits of that? And to help me drive that is David Karanja. David Karanja is a career nurse. Over 15 years he has been living in the United States of America, and there I hear the nurses are not only paid well, they are paid very well. You will be shedding light on that. And he works at the Kaiser Permanente. Is it the right, the right one?
Yes.
The Kaiser Permanente in San Francisco, California. Karibu Kenya.
Asante.
Now, I'm looking at the 2,500 jobs that were promised, and then those nurses are going. First things first, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union have cried foul, saying that how can you be taking nurses outside? We have the SHIF now, the Social Health Insurance Fund. First things first, do you support our nurses to go to the Saudi Arabia to earn a living there?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I support, because I, being one of them, and I have been there, I've enjoyed every benefit. So I'm in agreement. So they should go. Yes.
And we are looking at 2,500 nurses. Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Union they actually don't like it. We are looking at also Kenyans. They say, you're taking nurses outside. We have a shortfall right here in the country.
I don't think you have a shortfall. I think we have enough, because if you check those numbers that are graduating, I think we have enough, because a majority of those I'm speaking to, they have graduated, they don't have actual permanent jobs, they're just working on contracts. So majority of people out there, they don't have jobs yet. So, and there are these who are coming from colleges, so there will be these enough. I don't think we should be afraid of not having enough. I also know there's this issue of brain drain.
Yes.
It's true, but on the other hand, that's the main reason these people went to school, so they can sustain their families. So there's no need of having a degree in your pocket, and it's not doing anything for you. So if that chance has come, oh, please take it.
And why are professions like nursing, we're not talking about doctors, we're talking about nurses.
Yes.
Why is it so lucrative in countries like the US, the UK, and now our nurses are headed to the Saudi Arabia.
One thing why nursing specific is so attractive, the way the healthcare is set up. They did a research way back then and discovered there is no healthcare without nurses. They are the core of everything. So what they did, they came up with these implementations that are going to be attractive to the nurses. So one of them was being salaries. Before they were not being paid well. Then they discovered if we pay these people well, our healthcare will not be in risk, will not be at risk. So they started implementing this. Then they discovered actually we have a lot of old generation, huge number of the old people, and eventually they'll be needing care. So if we don't step ahead and know where these nurses will be coming from, we will have a problem. So they went ahead and made contracts with countries like India, Philippines. Train your people, we have jobs for them. So that has been going on for a while. It's us on this side, mostly in Africa and Kenya, we have not caught up with how things have been done. It's not a new thing, it has been there for decades. Just other people saw it first and they stepped up. So this is our chance, I would say. If the government is now agreeing we don't have jobs here, we can help get it there, I think we are heading on the right direction. So if they get calls, bring nurses, they should facilitate it as fast as possible because other countries will if we don't do it. So it's a good thing.
And looking at the nurses that are headed there, since you've already left the country and now you're working in the United States, what are some of the things that these nurses should be looking at? Because I'm looking at David Karanja, 15 years ago, he is working in San Francisco in the United States. You went there, you spoke in English, you've learned with English, but look at our nurses in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
There is a culture shock, there is a climate shock, there is also the language barrier. So what should nurses going there be knowing, actually?
Thank you for bringing that up. I know people are afraid to go there based on whatever you just described, but I also talked to a few nurses from Philippines. That's what they have been doing, because not everybody from Philippines will get a chance. So what they have been doing, they have been stepping up like a stepping stone to Middle East. That gives them a chance to work on bigger facilities with better equipment. So that goes on your resume. I have been working to a level 5 or 6 hospital. I have been trained to do these things. So they don't have that in the Philippines. They have that in Middle East. So you being there, your plan is not to be there long term. If you're going to be there 5-6 years, trust me, if somebody in the US sees, oh, this person has been working in ICU, and it's an actual ICU because they can check. So they'll get the first, whatever the chance that comes up, that's who they'll go for. So if you get a chance to go to Middle East, you have to have a plan. Don't just go there because you're just, you're going to come back after 5 to 6 years. Go there with this plan. I'm making my resume better and keep applying for the jobs in US because specifically, you cannot lose when you go there. So go there, market yourself, make your resume looks as better as possible. So say I'm training point A, B, and C, because in Kenya, sometimes we don't have the facilities that get you the training they need, but they have those in Middle East. So you get money, yes, but you also get better training. So it's a plus for you. So don't just go there frustrated. I know it's hard, but go there with a plan.
Yeah. And I'm looking at Karanja working at the Kaiser Permanente. There are nurses also from other countries, right?
Yes.
And there are nurses from the United States as well.
Yes.
Are you telling me the same pay that you draw from the hospital is the same pay that your colleague from Philippines draws and the same amount that the American draws?
Absolutely. So there used to be that
disparity
problem before. Things were hidden, and of course people complain. I know we don't like complaining much here, but in America people are taught how to speak up. So when that problem came up, they came up with a system. So you are being paid based on, number one, how many years of experiences you have. Number two, where you work. Back in ICU, so it's the top of the top. So if you work there, that means you have better training, you have a lot of experience, so you get a better pay. So they have an open printed book. If you have been here for 1 year, this is how much you earn. you stay here for 5 years, this is how much you want. So it's equal for everybody. And it's not just a hospital requirement, it's a state requirement. You cannot discriminate, say, this is a Kenyan, so I pay them this amount. That is not the case. If a Kenyan nurse come straight to a US and they have 15 years of experience, they should get paid based on the number of years they have been working.
Absolutely.
So you don't get pushed down there based on where you came from. Yeah, so they have a very good system.
All right, as we wrap up, I want to pick your final sentiments and what the future of SHIF, that is the Social Health Insurance Fund, holds, because I'm looking at 2,500 nurses that have already left. Maybe another country will need 500, another will need 2,000. What is the future of SHIF, if at all we only will be exporting nurses?
I would say increase the number of training institutions. In US, there's the public institution plays their part. Also, private institution plays their part. So if we can expand the base, so we can have as many numbers as possible, that can be of helpful. Don't just let KMTC do it. Help those individuals, private institutions that want to do it, and increase the numbers, increase the capabilities. So if we can have access, we cannot lose.
Thank you so much. I've been speaking to David Karanja, who is a critical care nurse at the Kaiser Permanente in San Francisco, California, in the United States, and he fully supports the exportation of nurses from our country to the United States, United Arab Emirates, and other countries as well. Thank you so much indeed for your time and for your insight.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Looking at other business stories, that unlocking green affordable housing projects will solve the housing crisis in the Kenyan market. This was the message at the Day 1 workshop organized by the Kenya Green Building Society, who stressed the importance of building green to promote a green environment at a time that the country is combating effects of climate change.
How can it solve the crisis, the housing crisis in Africa or in Kenya, is that ultimately everyone wants to live with dignity. So if we approach the housing agenda as a way of taking back our dignity as Africans, then everyone really will be on board, because fundamentally the two key things we need is shelter and food. Then we can talk about business, because without shelter and food, there's nothing really you're doing.
As a guarantor, we don't have that limit, right? We are not regulated. Our shareholders, that's the African Development Bank, County Pension Fund here in Kenya, the UK government and Cardano Development have given us patient capital. So, this is up to 20-year money, and it's that 20-year money we're using to leverage to make sure that, local currency can go beyond the 5-6 year tenor that we see in Kenya.
Time to play. In sports, Geoffrey Nyaega and Patricia Keruche emerged victorious during the Members Open Pool Tournament held at the Kasarani Pool Club. The tournament was used to raise awareness on mental health.
Geoffrey Nyaega won the men's title with 4 frames against Sarah's Miners reframes in the round of 32, while Patricia Keruche took the honors in the women's category after securing 3 frames against Penina Rose's 2.
This is where boys get to be boys, girls get to be girls, and we be ourselves. So it helps you relax in whichever level you are. So I would say it helps so much in mental health.
The tournament attracted over 25 participants from around Nairobi County. The next tournament will be held next month.
Maybe they can chip in the tournaments that we host monthly, national tournaments that we have, and local tournaments also. Let's not let the talents go to waste.
The organizers want to nurture more talent in the county as a way of popularizing the game, which is gaining footprints among the youths.
From pool to athletics, where double Olympic gold medalist Eliud Kipchoge will be out to reclaim his title in the 2024 Tokyo Marathon this Sunday, where he set a course record of 2 hours, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The 39-year-old is already in Japan in readiness for the marathon, where he is also expected to better his record in familiar surroundings.
Eliud Kipchoge won the 15th edition of the 2021 Tokyo Marathon in a double Kenyan victory with Briti Kosgei, where they also set the course records before he returned to Japan for the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games, where he won the men's marathon in 2 hours, 8 minutes and 38 seconds. Kipchoge, who became the first man in history to do a sub-2-hour marathon, is a former world marathon record holder, a 5-times Berlin marathon champion and a 4-times London marathon champion. He will lead a strong field of, among others, 2-time Abbott World Marathon Majors winner Benson Kipruto, Vincent Kipkemboi Ngetich, who finished second in the 2023 Berlin Marathon, and Timothy Kiplagat, who finished second in the 2023 Rotterdam Marathon. Also attracted top-class runners, led by Japan-based Kenyan Rosemary Wanjiru, will be defending her title. The reigning London and Chicago Marathon champion Sifan Hassan from Netherlands will make her debut at the Tokyo Marathon, and the World Athletics Marathon champion Amani Beriso. The Tokyo Marathon is the first among 2 major marathon series this year.
And on that marathon note, we wrap up KBC Lunchtime News this Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of everyone who has made this broadcast a success, my name is Bentroy Njue, and Byron Abuli has been our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. Don't forget to check out our social media platform for this news plus much, much more. Of course, we have more news at 4, 7 and 9. Till then, have a good day.
Wanatandikwa wale wase wanapigwa viboko.
Usiniite mzee, mimi
wewe mama na huyo mzee.
Wewe unafanya nini? Unafanya nini?
Najuaje si labda ni bwana huyo mama. Nasikia huyo mzee ni mpishi huko. Sasa na hiyo chakula yote siendi ula. Kwa sababu wajua vile nyinyi hufanya watu. Mshtakiwa pili una swali?
Hii mbegu mbaya hii.
Lazima usikie huzuni maana sasa kuku hutakula.
Sasa ukienda ndani kuku hakuna.
The police are already here.
Yes. I'll just ask them to come back tomorrow.
Yes, because it's been a tough day for Nazario.
No, I'll talk to them now. No matter what day it is, nothing will change.
Well, you could say Lucia and I are dating now.
Heaven answered my prayers, finally!
Then let me repeat what I said before. Face all the consequences. And don't ever tell me I didn't warn you.
It's been quite a while that your threats don't affect me anymore, Nora.
To me. Forget about Lucia.
Because if you keep on insisting, I'll make her forget you forever.
Stop fooling me. And how can you do that?
In the simplest way I know. I'm going to tell your Lucia that we met twice in a hotel.
Ushaipata na ule mama anafanya kazi kwa Mama Feli?
Mama Javali hatuna shida na yeye.
For like he can rot in jail.
Jane, what exactly are you trying to tell me? Pete is still seeing that woman.
Unaye pia madharau yake imezidi sasa.
Well, that's why I want to leave Pete for good.
Hapana. Mwanaume hawezi kusnachiwa kama hataki. Kwani yeye ni kibeti?
I just want my respect.
So dakta, siku nyingine tena tunakutana moja kwa moja papa hapa ndani ya FKF Review Show, bila shaka kupatia picha na jazanda kamili ya mambo yalivyozuka katika nyuga tofauti za humu nchini, wakati teams za humu nchini zilikuwa zinang'ang'ania fursa ya kuweza kuwa